Harvey Weinstein. He's a dream maker, a power broker, an elite man of Hollywood. Co-founder of Miramax, co-chairman of the Weinstein Company. He's got a finger in most pies in Hollywood. Pie Master Harvey is what they call him. He gets around. He's known as a doer. Many people will tell you they've been done by Harvey Weinstein.
I want to start by thanking Harvey Weinstein for organizing this amazing day. Harvey. This is possible because of Harvey. He is a wonderful human being, a good friend, and just a powerhouse.
In fact, his impact on media is so profound that they even modeled a character on South Park after him. Perhaps you're familiar with the Jewsians. He's a physical representation of a Jewsian, all right. Now, before you go, wait a minute, Jim. How could you call Harvey Weinstein a Jewsian? Obviously, it's their fucking behavior.
Now you suck on my jag-on. Oh yeah, stick your finger in my Russia. Oh yeah, suck it, suck that jag-on.
Because one look at those headlines that have been circulating around for the last week, and it gives you a good idea of what old Harvey's like. Yeah, he's been a busy boy. Harvey Weinstein paid off sexual harassment accusers for decades. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. But this man is a living cherub. Look at those flush red rosy cheeks. I hear he's a fucking saint. What could he possibly have done to incur this kind of article from the New York Times? It must be fake news. This has to be fake news, not my Harvey, not my dream maker. In interviews, 8 women described varying behavior by Mr. Weinstein, appearing nearly or fully naked in front of them, requiring them to be present while he bathed, or repeatedly asking them for a massage, or initiating one himself. Why, if I didn't know any better, this article makes Harvey Weinstein sound like a big, fat, disgusting fucking pig that has to beg for sex and use his power and authority to get it. That can't be the case. I mean, just look at this buff piece of ass. He must be banging away chicks left and right with a physique like that. I can't imagine Harvey having to beg for sex. Oh, wait a minute, there's audio of it.
I'm telling you right now.
What do we have to do here?
Nothing. I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink. Water.
I don't drink. Can I stay on the bar?
No, you must come here now.
No.
Please.
No, I don't want to.
I'm not doing anything with you. Now you're embarrassing me.
I'm sorry. I
Don't
cannot.
come in here.
No, yesterday was a kind of aggressive for me. I need to know a person to
I
be
won't
touched.
do a thing.
I don't
Do a thing, please. I swear I won't. Just sit with me. Don't embarrass me in the hotel. I'm here all the time.
I
Sit
know,
with me.
but
I
I don't
promise.
want to.
Please sit there. Please. 1 minute.
No,
I ask
I can't.
you. Go to the bathroom.
Please, I don't want to do something I don't want
Go
to.
to the bathroom. Come here. Listen to me.
I want to go
I'm
downstairs.
not going to do anything. You'll never see me again after this.
Yeah, I just want you to sit down and touch me a little. I'm gonna sit on the bed and I'm just gonna touch myself, and I just want you to fart in my face a little bit. Just right in my face. That's all Harvey needs, and I'll make you a star, baby. I'll make you a fucking star. Now, the Harvey Weinstein incident, the allegations against him aren't really surprising. Most people, when they think of Hollywood, think of it as a shithole full of the worst kinds of people imaginable. And that's not far off base. But what makes Harvey so interesting, what makes the reaction to the allegations around him so interesting, is a cascading avalanche that took place after it. Because Harvey sort of opened a door. He opened a door to a lot of allegations on behavior in Hollywood that people had hinted at or suspected for a long time. I'm not talking about just the jokes that a Seth MacFarlane might make at a awards ceremony.
Congratulations, you 5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein.
Now, after this had come out, actresses took to Twitter to discuss it. You had people like Rose McGowan recounting her encounters with Harvey Weinstein, even lashing out at Amazon Studios saying, hey, I told you about this guy and you didn't even care, you brushed me aside. Said they had talked to other actors about it and were told to hush up. I talked to that guy. I told him, please don't try to get chicks to watch you masturbate, you fucking living pig man. But I guess it didn't work. And how did Twitter, the most liberal fucking place on the internet, the place where if you sneeze at somebody wrong, you're going to be banned for 1.5 years for a microaggression, how did they react to Rose McGowan calling out the Hollywood elites? They fucking locked her account down. She had to go to Instagram and Facebook and say, isn't that weird? Isn't it weird when I come out and talk about this disgusting human being that suddenly I'm deplatformed and I can't talk about it anymore. Now, Twitter later came out and said they had a whole justifiable reason for it. There was a phone number and some pictures she had posted, and that apparently violated the doxing rules on their platform, which is really weird when you consider this account has been doxing, quote-unquote Nazis for the last fucking month and had nothing happen to it. But apparently when you dox somebody that sexually harasses and molests and perhaps rapes women, that's a bridge too far. That's a line we don't cross at twitter.com. But poor Harvey, my heart breaks for him. I wonder how our good guys handling it. Oh, Harvey Weinstein suicide threat prompts police response. Well, apparently, according to reports, Harvey threatened suicide and his daughter ended up calling the police. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's complete bullshit, and you'd be right. There's no way this fat piece of shit tried to kill himself, but this is a good narrative arc that he's building, a redemption story. This is when he fades off into the sunset to get help for his condition, because Harvey wants to go to therapy. I guess being a disgusting fucking piece of shit, you can get a little therapy, a week's worth, in a nice spa resort somewhere in Europe. Oh wait, he can't go to Europe anymore. Let's make that Arizona. Somewhere in Arizona, and suddenly all your sins are forgiven. That's the Hollywood way. Do something outrageous. And spend a week in the sun and have a little bit of fun and you're back in the business again. He was even there to greet reporters on his way through the airport. Look at that remorse. That is a remorseful man right there. He is truly sorry for the things that he's done. Now, a good deal of people that have actually been following along with this as it's played itself out over the last 6 or 7 days have been waiting for the other shoe to drop. Because for the longest time, there have been rumors that have swirled about a dark underside of Hollywood. I know, how could something this shit-filled have a dark underside? Shouldn't it be brown all the way through? But apparently, some things are so horrific, they completely have to be hidden. I'm talking about pedowood. Now, pedowood is the allegation that powerful people in Hollywood, from producers to film company people to the people financing films and television, have a proclivity for fucking children. Now, people have talked about this in the past. There's the famous incidents with Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. Now, Haim is dead, and Feldman has talked about this, but he won't name names. See, this is a problem that's constantly encountered. Even people like Elijah Wood, who have hinted at it and talked about it, only use vagaries when they're talking about it. Nobody wants to be specific. And so you hear that this is probably going on, but you never see evidence. You never get the names of the people that are involved in it. Even when Hollywood is being discussed in an anonymous fashion, like posts that have been attributed to Robert Downey Jr., where he was supposedly the person posting behind an anonymous account talking about the dirty underside of the industry, still didn't go into specific details. So you'd imagine, as you're watching this as an outsider, and with potential knowledge of the pedowood angle to it, that with all these people coming out, talking about Harvey Weinstein and sexual abuses in Hollywood, with all these women stepping forward, with men coming forward and saying that they're preyed upon, people like Terry Crews, for fuck's sake. So you figure people would come forward and start perhaps naming names. At least that's what people have been waiting for. One name that's been swirling around that had a Twitter moment after it would be Dan Schneider. Dan, hold her tighter, she's a fighter, Schneider. Now, Dan is a producer and creator who's made shows on Nickelodeon and has had his hands in the Disney Channel. And one awkward thing about Dan Schneider that constantly comes up are his bizarre pictures. And for some reason, the hinted at notion that he is a pedophilic foot fetishist, as noticed in the multitude of works that he's produced, where it's a reoccurring fucking theme, that if you see some weird shit with kids' feet on a television show on Nickelodeon or Disney, you're almost 100% guaranteed that fucking Dan Schneider had a hand in it. I'm sorry, Dan Schneider had a foot in it, and that foot's probably attached to an 8-year-old that's crying in a green room somewhere on a casting couch.
Hey, Dan Schneider. I know you're watching my Vine. Do you like my Vine? Vine. Look what you've done to me.
Not saying that happened, not making any statements of fact, merely relaying the allegations and rumors that are swirling out there. And I think the takeaway from the Weinstein story is, this is a man who had immense power in the industry, who repeated this behavior for decades. When he would get accused of something, he would pay it off and make it go away. Nobody wanted to come forward. Nobody wanted to put their career on the line. And so he was allowed to continually get away with it. But what you have to ask yourself when looking at this is, if these people are willing to molest and harass women, and big burly black men like Terry fucking Crews, what chance do kids have in this industry? If adults are vulnerable to it, how vulnerable are the fucking children? How many more Corey Feldmans and Elijah Woods have to hint at this shit before somebody decides to simply step forward and say, this is going on? These are the people involved. How fucking terrified must these people be? We've seen actresses go fucking batshit crazy. It's like a time bomb. It's a meme at this point. It happens time and time and time again. Child actors get famous, make money, and then they go fucking batshit bonkers and either overdose on drugs or get arrested or fade into the gutter because they end up homeless. Now, is that a result of fame? Or is that a result of abuse that happened while they were children and they are finally past the point of being able to hide it away and it hits them like a brick house and they no longer can cope with it? I don't know. You're going to have to tell me. But maybe if we're lucky, Amazon will produce an original series about it, co-produced by Harvey Weinstein and Dan Schneider. Fingers crossed.